Hey yo, what's a prowl with those who never miss their daily dose? My favorite people, the Chico Army. And if you're new, thinking about joining that crew, subscribe and officially drop the title of Viewer of the Tube. My name's Tyler, and this channel's crypto content looks similar to the others on the surface, but we always have a surprise. Some fries, mother trucker. It's time for Chico Crypto. Uniswap, it's hands down the most dominant DeFi protocol. Volume was nearly 260 million 24 hours, and monthly visits to the exchange over 4.84 million. Although, if you didn't know, Uniswap wasn't very popular last year, and barely heard of or understood almost 2 years ago. Uniswap didn't just show up overnight. It's taken some time for people to realize its true value. Back in 2018, Vitalik was trying to get people to realize this. He tweeted, "Uniswap is a huge UX improvement over previous DEXs, even the basically centralized ones." So CoinGecko, it only tracks Uniswap volume back 1 year, but that's enough to show this point. Back in October 2019, daily volume was under 1 million. It wasn't until Q1 of 2020 when things started really moving and volume picked up. So it took a long time for Uniswap to get where it is today. Things don't just happen overnight, even in crypto, and if they do, you should be suspicious. Now, a little history of Uniswap. The AMM algorithm, automated market maker, which powers Uniswap, was a product of this Vitalik 2017 blog post describing the algo, which Hayden would run with and eventually turn into Uniswap. From October to November of 2017, Hayden would build the first proof of concept. Yeah, Uniswap was initially conceived all the way back in the bull run of 2017. And today, it's like we're getting ready to start another bull run, kind of like 2016, 2017. So who are the Uniswappers of today? Who are the protocols, the standards, the decentralized ones, which will change and flip finance on its head, altering how we interact with assets for good? Well, wouldn't you like to know? Join my paid-for monthly subscription group to find out. Psh. Yeah, right. Chico's content will always be free. So let's dive right in, my friends. If you didn't know, Uniswap wouldn't be possible unless something else within Ethereum was launched in 2016, the ERC20 standard. Uniswap V2 pools are majority ERC20 tokens, and the ownership of liquidity pools is based on the ERC20 standard too. Now, before the DeFi hype run, and probably a good thing it happened then, Uniswap V1 allowed another token standard to run unhinged, Erc677. And from this tweet in April of this year, we can see what happened. IMBTC pool from TokenLawn on Uniswap has been attacked and drained. Simple attack vector on Erc677 on Uniswap to steal over 300K, and the vulnerability was even described 16 months prior. So this goes to show how dangerous a new standard is, which changes base functions of ERC20, and developer David Mihal covered it in April after it happened. These hooks in Erc677 open up the issue of re-entrancy attacks. This isn't a new attack vector. Re-entrancy caused the famous DAO hack. What's new is this attack is possible with tokens. Developers assume ETH transfers are vulnerable, but token transfers are safe. Then below he says, there's multiple ways this can be fixed. The consensus audit suggests using a mutex. You can limit the gas allowance for the transfer function similar to the ETH transfer function in Solidity. Uniswap V2 has already patched this issue. Now, in that same thread, a Chainlink god asked David, is Erc677 vulnerable to re-entrancy attacks as well? It's very similar to Erc777, but came out earlier. David says, doesn't appear so. Erc677 only adds new functions. It doesn't change the behavior of the existing ERC20 functions, while Erc777 hooks are triggered on normal transfer calls. So Erc677 is what I like to call ERC 2.0. Erc777 was hailed by many as the next one, even some big Ethereum developers. But it failed. It's not the next iteration. And because some of those devs of some major ones put their faith into it, they have something against 677, even though it is better. Per example, let's just go to the Erc677 EIP, Ethereum Improvement Proposal, submitted all the way back in July 2017 by Chainlink CTO Steve Ellis. It was the beginning of the transfer and call function in the standard. Steve putting forward the idea. Well, there was a Micah Zoltu, independent core Ethereum developer, an old school one, who was actually a part of Augur and writing the original white paper in 2015. Well, he was in the 677 EIP thread, and he said this to another person regarding token standards in July of 2019. Have you checked out Erc677? It is currently in last call, I believe, or maybe final, and includes a mechanism for doing transfer and call. I suspect it will be the next standard token after ERC20. Well, as we know, Erc677 is not the next ERC20. It caused major issues, and this caused the developers who supported it to hate on other standards and throw those away. As we can see, in June of this year, Micah, who was tasked with cleaning up EIPs in 2020, said this to Steve. At SE3000, is the EIP still of interest to you, or should we treat it as abandoned? Of which Steve replies, the EIP has slipped my mind recently, but it's not abandoned. Link uses it, and it's great for minimizing transactions and or inter-contract interactions, along with potential issues those raise, e.g. reentrancy. Until another token standard with similar functionality emerges as dominant, I think 677 complements ERC20 well, and I'd advocate for more widespread adoption. Well, I'd advocate for more widespread adoption too, but those in the know, they are using it. They are using transfer and call, the function from 677. Of course, Chainlink is in the know. Steve said what Chainlink was using it for. Link uses it, and it's great for minimizing transactions or inter-contract interactions, and it's not vulnerable to re-entrancy attacks like 777. And Chainlink is using it like mad. We can look up the transfer and call function from Bloxy, which shows us how this functionality is being used. And as we can see, the number of times this was used has been growing and growing since June of 2019. What happened in June? The launch of Chainlink mainnet on Ethereum. And if we look into the smart contracts using it, bulk, it's Chainlink's token. And to the right, the specific addresses. It's internal transactions for Chainlink price feed aggregators. Like Steve said, they use it for inter-contract transactions to save on gas by minimizing the number of transactions. Now, I don't want to take credit myself for all of this, but I should take credit. I got Erc677 talked about again. As we can see from the EIP GitHub, user AMMs says, let's move the discussion of the EIP to the Ethereum Magicians Forum. And AMMs says this there. It seems that there has been a recent regain of interest for issue 677. That's not an ERC, as it doesn't have the proper documentation, both on the EIP repo and on YouTube, with Chico Crypto making a video about it. While I love the underlying idea, I have to emphasize that there are many ways to achieve the same results. I know of at least two: Chainlinks and DAI's transfer and call. DAI's transfer and call? Did AMMs mean xDai or the actual DAI? Well, it doesn't really matter because it's really all the same. MakerDAO is the creator of DAI, and xDai is a collaboration between MakerDAO and POA. And methinks he meant xDai, but maybe there is some functionality of DAI being worked on that I haven't heard of. And that would make sense, as many people don't realize MakerDAO is heavily involved with xDai, like on the ground floor, announcing it with POA in October of 2018. So I hope you can tell I think 677 and the transfer and call function is going to be the ERC20 of this run, and it's going to change the game as it already is. Besides Link using it like mad for their prize feeds, allowing relayers to pay for and request external data with a single transaction, xDai is of course using it. And they're using it in multiple ways, of course for their bridges and the transferring of tokens, transfer and call, From xDai documentation on how to transfer tokens, we can see they have the general ERC20 transfer. And it says, the general case describes a pure ERC20 token. For tokens compatible with ERC677 and ERC827 token standards, the steps may be simplified. See the separate section below. Yeah, super simplified. As if you look through the walkthrough steps for each, you see that? Yeah, it's seriously shorter. Way less steps, which means not as many transactions. And then at the bottom, they have gone even further. In simplification for token transfers from the xDai side, they say the token contract deployed on the xDai chain is a customized version of ERC677 standard. It contains the changes that allow calling the transfer method to withdraw tokens from the xDai chain instead of transfer and call. So it is enough to specify the multi-token mediator contract address on the xDai chain as a receipt and amount of tokens to initiate a request to transfer tokens back to Ethereum. And this customized version of ERC677 and the multi-token mediator address have created something special with xDai, and that's the Omni Bridge. As we can see at the top of their documentation, they say, there is an unofficial Omni Bridge UI now available which calls the methods of the multi-token mediators contracts described below. So, ERC677 and its tech is revolutionizing bridges and transfers across them for good, and xDai is leading the charge for this, and it's revolutionizing inter-contract transactions for oracles and price feeds, and Link is leading the way on that. So what else is it going to change for good? Staking. It's going to bring token staking. So, going to xDai protocol terms in their documentation, it says this. The xDai stable chain operates with two bridges. The second one is an ERC677 to 677 bridge, and it converts stake ERC677 tokens on the Ethereum mainnet to stake on the xDai chain, and vice versa. And then just below that, it says future bridge implementations will extend the multi-staking capability of the stake token, allowing additional sidechains to use stake as a staking token via bridge connections. That's why they call it stake, my friends. It's a purely designed chain extendable staking token, only possible with ERC677. So if I'm correct, in the short future, staking will be allowed by other tokens on the xDai sister chain. And guess what? Chainlink is doing something similar on the mainnet Ethereum, allowing tokens to become stakeable. From a late September tweet from Chainlink, DeFi platform has integrated Chainlink's price reference data feeds live on mainnet to calculate its staking rewards. This ensures that all rewards issued to strong block users are accurately and transparently distributed. And the same goes with ADX. Chainlink price feeds are powering their elastic issuance staking model. And the 677 standard is what will allow Chainlink's own staking to happen when it eventually goes live, and it's getting closer by the day. Going to Chainlink's pivotal tracker, there's something in the current iteration of October 12th to 18th. Not officially accepted yet green, but it is there. Scrolling down, the multi-coordinator contract. This is one of the pieces that is needed to allow staking, but how far are they on it? Well, going to the epics, we can see that it opens up the big pieces of Chainlink. And as we can see, there is the multi-word response, aka staking. And it's about 65% done, 65% green. And clicking in it, we can see the multi-coordinator is a part of this, and it's a prioritized piece. Then, hovering over the multi-word epic, we can see the prioritized piece is only one story, the multi-coordinator, worth 5 points, which would push completion to what looks like about 85% if the gray filled to green. So, 677 is the kicker for the next run. Maybe because of politics, it doesn't become a token standard, but transfer and call is here to stay, as just like Ethereum staking is going to change the game, 677 based token staking will too. Cheers, I'll see you next time.